everyone, this is Oscar Roca coming to you on Monday, December 11th. And by the time you get this, we would have come back from Cancun and just a trip, the Mexico trip. One of those things that was highly unlikely, one of those things that was a perfect storm brewing. And the reason why I'm saying that, you'll see coming up, but I should have never have been able to get to Cancun, but I was. They said when it rains, it pours, and it does. And nothing could be further from the truth. And you'll see in a little bit why. I am titling this, the title for this is The Darker the Storm, the Brighter the Light. And it's one of those things that I know there are some people that I know that tend to have a view of things that are the glass is half empty. Others have the glass is half full. My thing is the glass is refillable. And I hope that I can make a statement on that, even when one is going through some of life's storms. Now, why am I saying all this? Well, it is Christmas season, and you will see that Christmas season brings out the best of people and also the worst of people. It is proven that more things happen during Christmas when it comes to people being depressed. Maybe they may not have family members that they are talking to. Maybe they have problems at work, health-wise, problems in health. But here is the best thing that I could tell you. In Isaiah chapter 9, 750 years before Christ was born, Isaiah was shown a glimpse of what Jesus or Yeshua, the Messiah, the Savior, the Christ of the world would be 700 years before. So this prophecy here is one of the over 350 prophecies that Jesus fulfilled in his lifetime here, his first coming or his first advent. We as Christians are looking for him in the second advent. He is coming back for us. Yet there will be no gloom for her who was in anguish as in the former time. He degraded the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali. So afterwards he will glorify the way of the sea beyond Jordan, Galilee of the nations. Galilee of the nations. The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. That was Jesus. They who dwell in the land of the shadow of death, on them the light was shined. I'm going to tell you something. That is a modern King James version. But when Jesus came, the unlikely story is Joseph and Mary ended up settling over in that area. Something that was unforeseen, something that had the Sanhedrin and the high priests and all the priests of the temple and the governing body of the Jewish nation, had they really listened to Isaiah and other hints, Micah, Bethlehem, they would have known that this unlikely of heroes, Jesus, was their Messiah. But we'll get to that when we get to that in the future, because I'm going to be doing a couple of blogs, starting with this one, the unlikeliest of darkness being shown. And when light is here, nothing that happens in darkness will be hidden. This is smooth sailing until we got close to Cancun. And I'm going to tell you something. It was as smooth sailing as possible. We got in and the storm hit. And when the storm hits, something happens. We are above the clouds. And remember that we have to soar above the clouds. We have to be encouraged to go above the storms of life. And one of the things that I will tell you is I am a witness to that. And I will tell you this much. That storm was unsettling, but we made it through. Now, here is another storm that happened as we were in the resort, and it was pretty bad. I just saw what was done, and I thought to myself, wow, this particular storm hit pretty hard. And in Cancun, the lights were turned off. Our lights were turned off. The Christmas lights in the town of Cancun, everything was turned off. So it was a big storm. But here's the cool part. Even when the storm hits, the season for light, not stormy darkness, comes. We are in the season where people act a little bit more civil to each other. People act kinder and gentler to each other. They are joyful during this time. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter if you are a Christian or not. It doesn't matter if you believe in God or not. Something happens during the Christmas season, and I call that the era, the season, the period of light. So lately, like I was saying earlier, there has been a small rain cloud hovering over me. This past maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks or so, this little cloud, just like that storm, has become increasingly bigger and stormier in my life. It reminds me of the pilot when we were on the plane. He let us know ahead of time, hey, listen, we may get some turbulence. It's going to be smooth sailing up until a certain period of time and a certain period of land. And we're going to see what's happening. And what was happening was the storm hit. That all-powerful storm shook the plane, moved everything around. That all-powerful storm, when we got to the resort, quickly changed the plans that we were having to just stick inside the resort and not go outside, not go out into the pool, to the beach, or go exploring the town. But the book of Hebrews and the Greek scriptures, and please be patient, because this is what my correlation is. In the Greek scriptures, or what we call the New Testament, the book of Hebrews tells us that it is appointed for people, or men and women, to physically die once. Then comes God's judgment. God knows the day, exactly the day, the exact hour, and the very second that every person is going to live and pass on into eternity. That's important for all of us to know, because these storms that come, these storms that go, are not what make us. What makes us is whether we soar above the storm, or whether we stay in the darkness of the storm, or whether we let the storm just tumble us all over. So one of those things that happens in life, if you are going through darkness, if you are going through the land of the valley of the shadow of death, if you're going through the storm that you don't see the end, I will tell you this: in God's perfect timing, there was an all-powerful leader with an all-powerful empire who gave an all-powerful decree. But God's all-powerful and perfect timing changed all that, and we'll get to it. The light being born, the curse of Jeconiah. In Jeremiah 22, Jeconiah was one of the kings. He is known as a king that God stopped his kingly line. And the blessing of the son of David, here is the crazy thing in Jeremiah. It says in Jeremiah 22, 22nd chapter, thus says the Lord, do justice and righteousness, and deliver from the hand of the oppressor him who has been robbed, and do no wrong or violence to the resident alien, the fatherless and the widow, nor shed innocent blood in this place. As Jeremiah 22, God is telling Jeconiah, King Jeconiah, also known as Jehoiakim or Jehoiachin, and Coniah, God cursed him. He had sons, but none of Jeconiah's sons sat on the throne room in Jerusalem. They were taken captive into Babylon, of course, by the Babylonians, thus ending the line of Joseph. Joseph, the stepdad of Jesus, who took Mary as his wife, knowing that she was pregnant, knowing that people would talk and his reputation would fall. But because God, through an angel, spoke to him, he took Mary, or Miriam, to be his wife, already pregnant. Here's the cool part. Joseph, the stepdad, God needed from that time, whatever 1,000 years before, he had to set up this perfect, not only storm through Joseph's line, the kingly line of Joseph was part of the kingly line of David, but because Joseph was the stepdad, God, in his infinite wisdom, knew that in the future people would say, oh, that's Joseph's son, that Yeshua or that Jesus is Joseph's son. He can never be the Messiah because Joseph's line through Jehoiakim or Coniah or Jeconiah, his line was corrupted. God told him that no one would serve under him, that his line would end without kings. And it did happen. But 1,000 years later or so, that excuse would have been taken away in that perfect storm that happened 1,000 years for the blessing that came afterwards. The blessing in 1 Chronicles chapter 17, the son of David, the Davidic covenant, or the blessing of the son of David. And in 1 Chronicles chapter 17, verse 11, when your days are fulfilled to walk with your fathers, he's talking to David, I will raise up your offspring after you, Yeshua or Jesus, one of your own sons, of course, Jesus, and I will establish his kingdom. Now, a lot of people say that he was talking about Solomon. Yes, but it was a foreshadowing of the true King of Kings and Lord of Lords, the creator of the universe, Yeshua or Jesus, the son of David, the son of Abraham, the son of Adam. Offspring, one of your sons, and I will establish his kingdom, Jesus' kingdom. He shall build a house for me, and it wasn't built with stones, as Jesus said it. And I will establish his throne forever. I will be to him a father, and he shall be to me a son. I will not take my steadfast love from him as I took it from him who was before you, but I will confirm him in my house and in my kingdom forever, and his throne shall be established forever. 1 Chronicles, that's in the ESV, 1 Chronicles chapter 17, verses 11 through 14. What an awesome statement. There is no way that he was talking about Solomon or any of his sons or sons or great-grandsons. He was talking about Jesus. He was telling David, listen, because you were faithful. You were a man that was after my own heart. You did things that were horrible, but you humbled yourself and you came to me and asked for forgiveness. This is what I'm going to do because you wanted to build a temple for me. You have blood in your hands. You were a warrior king, and I blessed you to conquer for my sake because my son will be your descendant. My son is going to be of your line, David, because you were faithful, you were obedient, and you were humble. Here's what I am going to do. I will establish a kingdom through that son of yours, which is actually my son. Very cool. Perfect star lighting the way. And the perfect star lighting the way in Matthew chapter 2, you see the star of what now people are calling the Star of Bethlehem. The star that I will talk to in a little bit about the wise men that came. Some people say they were magi, and I will explain what the magi were. I will also explain why they had to go from the Babylonian area or Persian area, and why they saw this star that was so bright and aligned perfectly. They knew that something was up. They went to find this king that would one day rule the whole world. For these two most unlikely heroes, Joseph and Mary, having to pick up their belongings and set out for Bethlehem, their ancestral home, the ancestral home of King David, Bethlehem. which the city, the town itself, Beit Lahem, is the house of bread, where Jesus said, I am the bread of life. And that's for another blog. And for them to get to this small town on the very perfect timed night that a star, or what people are saying, a group of planets that were aligned together, that you could see a star perfectly aligned for the world to usher in this tiny King of Kings and Lord of Lords, and for the town of Bethlehem to be so full of people during that time. If you remember what I said about both Joseph, Jesus' stepdad, and Mary, or Miriam, of course, Jesus' mom here on earth, for both of them to come all the way from where they were into Bethlehem, for both of them to be able to ride on a donkey, not both of them, but Mary, ride on a donkey, ushering in this tiny baby king. The significance of her being able to ride on the donkey, because the future King of Kings and Lord of Lords would be riding in on a donkey into Jerusalem. But at this time, 33 and a half years or so before, they would come into a small sleepy town that I will talk about in the next chapter of this Christmas series, where Bethlehem was the literally the house of bread. And as I was saying before, that Jesus said he equated himself as the bread of life. Keep that in mind. Also keep it in mind that Joseph and Mary had family, and that family, extended family, just like third cousins, four cousins, whatever, twice removed. Joseph and Mary would have known people in the town of Bethlehem who would have been able to help them come in, and they would be hospitable enough to bring them in. But because God, in his perfect timing, because of that Caesar in his all-powerful seat, making and doing a decree, signing a decree that he wanted to have all the Roman citizens and its subjects go into their ancestral homes, for such a perfect time for this baby to be born in Bethlehem. Imagine had Joseph and Mary not been forced to go into that town. The prophecy of Micah chapter 5 would not have been. And we'll talk about the Micahs of the world and all the rest, from Genesis all the way down to Malachi. And that's for the next couple blogs. God bless you guys. And remember, the perfect star lighting the way. If you are going through a storm in your life and you don't see any light at the end of the tunnel, any light anywhere in the sky, if you, like me, have gone through some stormy weather lately and the storm's getting bigger, I am not worried. I will not fret. I will not be afraid, because he is with me, and he is the God who heals, the God who lifts up, the God who encourages, and the God who picks you up when you are too tired, weary, and afraid to move one step forward. I am not there. I'm not that way, never have been. I have every faith that whenever it is a perfect time and the perfect day and the perfect hour for me to go home to be with the Lord, or the perfect time, the perfect hour, the perfect day for me to be healed from my infirmities, he will do it, because he is God. And there's nothing that anyone can do. God bless you guys. And then for the next post, the odds of one baby fulfilling the odds. That's next. God bless you guys.